U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
I'm out here in the farm fields of Illinois. This is a bean field that just turned brown in mid-September. And there's a lot of concern over where the product that these farmers in Illinois have raised is going to be going and what kind of price they'll get for the crops they've raised. I grew up in this area. I went to Little Cayman High School. It's about 2 miles north of here. And I went to school with all the farm kids, and I even grew up in eastern Pennsylvania and went to school with Amish and Mennonite kids in Lancaster County. And growing up, I had an uncle who ran a farm in upstate New York. So I have some history with an empathy for farmers, because I watch how hard they work to get this crop in the ground, and its timing and the rains in spring, whether they come or not. One year it was too wet, the next year it's too dry. It's tough being a farmer. But what's even tougher is growing all this crops and having all the equipment and debt you need to be a farmer, and then be cast aside by things like tariffs. And that's what's so confusing to me. The people out here in farm country, a lot of them have Trump signs in their lawns. There's a huge one up the road here. When I'm cycling over the summer, I see them all over the place. Probably see 10 to 20 in a 40-mile ride. And that indicates to us that farmers are big into Republican values, and that's the other side of the coin here. You know, what is the ideology driving people to want to be Republican? Well, over the centuries, that we've had farming here in the United States, there's been a lot of deception by conservatives. The Dust Bowl came about because people were told to go on out, God will help you, and rain will follow the plow. And that was a lie. And what we wound up with is agricultural conditions that basically turned the entire Great Plains to dust. And there's sort of a similar thing going on in Illinois in many states, because soils are not in a great condition here either. And there's been this profit-oriented idea that it's your job to go and grind up the soil and get what you can out of it, get the best price for it, and we'll take care of the rest. It's that classic sort of go ideology that people pride themselves on in America. But sustainability is a real problem. That's true in terms of economic markets, where a lot of crops from the United States are sold to other countries, for example, China. And now we've imposed tariffs on China, and guess who winds up paying the price? It's Illinois and Iowa and Wisconsin and Missouri and Nebraska and all these farmers that, work their lives trying to sustain their crop output every year. And Trump doesn't care about those people. But what he does do, and this is sort of his method, he has never had a good grasp of forecasting policy. He bankrupted casinos, for instance, right? And many of his businesses failed, and those that did sort of succeed were dependent on creative bookkeeping. The guy is not a good planner. He could never be a good farmer. He sucks at everything he does. But somehow he came up with this, let's do something about our markets idea with tariffs, and they've never been proven to work. And right now, something like 86 to 90% of the tariffs are being absorbed not by foreign companies, but by Americans paying higher product prices. And the farmers are the ones that get kicked right in the nuts. And what does Trump do? He uses taxpayer money to pay them off for the fuck-ups that he did. And that's the sick aspect of it. And all these guys with Trump signs out here, they're happy to ask for handouts now when many of them apparently don't like, the idea that immigration people come here and, they're using our tax dollars. Blame immigrants for everything. Well, guess what? A lot of our farm production, especially things like fruits and vegetables and everything, are reliant on immigrant workers. And so Trump is so fucking dumb about what really happens here on the earth that he's screwing everybody over. And these farmers out here, you sort of have to have empathy for them because they've been lied to. They've been deceived. And we need small farmers as well as big farmers. But during Trump's first term, when he first messed up with farm markets, Sonny Perdue, his Secretary of Agriculture, said to American farmers, tough luck, go big or go away. And so corporatized farming and the seed crops owned by giant firms like Bayer and Monsanto and all of that are taking over. And if we don't have any local control over how food's produced, we're at the mercy of all of that, the corporatization of America and the oligarchy. And if you don't connect these dots and see that people out here are being deceived, and these are the same people basically voting for Trump, then you don't get it. Where will these crops go? We really don't know. They may rot in the bins, in the dryers, everything.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red. And we send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs. And we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers. And they're critical.
Yeah, so if we look at, and we're going to divide. So I'll stay with grain and oilseeds because that's what I do day to day. But I just have to say one thing about livestock. For livestock folks, we're in good world for them right now. So I'd love to be able to have as good a world that they're having in GNO, but we just don't. And so there's just so many things, and it's really a supply story this year. When you think about across the globe, we haven't had a year where every country's almost hitting on all 8 cylinders where we're getting full production. And that's where we are right now. It's also, too, a bit of a dichotomy in the U.S. is that you've got, we're building corn stocks, but the world is not. Or it's just the opposite in soybeans, where the world's building soy stocks and we're not. And so it's a very weird world, but the fact is we just have so much supply in the world, that's just going to keep prices, really on the defensive.
You see all these farmers on TikTok complaining now about Trump, who voted for Trump. It's funny how people don't care about something until it directly affects them. Countless farmers are on the verge of losing their farms. One guy has a wheat farm. He's already lost $400,000 since Trump's been in office. Another guy has a sweet potato farm, 200 acres. He's already lost $500,000. Farmers in our country are losing their government contracts. The government is reneging on the contracts they already have with these farmers, and these farmers depend on these contracts. The agricultural sector relies on billions of dollars of government assistance for loans, grants, disaster relief, and conservation practices. These programs have been around since FDR. Now, a federal judge already blocked the funding freeze that Trump instilled because it's against the law. But farmers around the country, they're telling us, it's all over social media. They're receiving letters saying the government is just not going to be able to fulfill their contracts. These people are losing everything. They're having to sell their cattle to survive and pay bills. This is only the beginning. We're not even a month in.
It's cattle farmers today. It could be your industry tomorrow. Right now, all over social media, farmers are asking for help. This administration is wreaking havoc on their businesses, but of course, a lot of them supported Trump. And right now, alongside all those reels and posts, we keep seeing the same comment and hearing the same question over and over. How do we find a cattle farmer who isn't MAGA? That question is the whole reason that we built Little Blue Cart. And we do have one progressive farmer listed right now, and we are delighted to point people in their direction. But we need more. This isn't just about beef. It's about every industry, florist, mechanic, therapist, anything. People want to know who they're funding, and we are building the resource so we can vote with our wallets and not support MAGA businesses. If you're a small business owner who did not vote for this, list your business on Little Blue Cart. It's free, and people are searching for you right now. It's cattle farmers today. It could be your industry tomorrow. Let's build a better resource together.
So we need to talk about this Georgia farmer that did not vote for Donald Trump. And now the county, 60% of the citizens that voted for Donald Trump and whose officials are all Trump supporters, took over 225 acres of his farmland through eminent domain. They've given him 90 days to vacate his cattle and all of his equipment. They've already got the engineering firms and the construction companies showing up on his farmland. He's being literally bulldozed. Not only did the majority of the county vote for Donald Trump, all of the officials behind this decision support Donald Trump. The other entity behind this is Georgia's Department of Transportation, which is also run by Trump supporters. And what's sad is this farmland contains centuries-old pecan groves. They're plowing right through this. And there's not going to be any public jets there. This isn't for public transportation. This is for use by wealthy white millionaires and billionaires who can afford private jets. So this is where I want Georgia taxpayers to pay attention. You're paying for the rich white man's private airport with 47 million of your tax dollars. And it gets even worse. You and I are paying 40 million of it through a grant that Trump's FAA is giving to them. So we're paying for these wealthy white men to have their fun on a private airport and take away the land of a farmer who did not vote for this. He's made it very clear that he's never voted for Donald Trump, that Trump policies have done nothing but hurt his farm and his business. And this is the ultimate pain. And I just have to say, all of you Trump supporters that are all about, we love the farmers, America first, you guys let Jeff down. You let Jeff down. Racism is expensive. Donald Trump is importing beef to try to win midterm elections. He's trying to help Republicans win by lowering the price of beef artificially for exactly 3 months. Perfect timing. And he's doing it at the expense of cattle farmers who were already suffering from Trump's tariffs and other Republican policies. When he decided to import from Argentina, he decided to import from a country he already gave $40 billion to last year instead of giving it to the farmers here. And he's importing the beef based on Argentina regulations. So now we're going to probably have yet another food added to the list of record-breaking numbers of foods that are being recalled, because all of his donor friends who own all of these food processing companies said, if we donate to you, please deregulate. And that's what Donald Trump did through Elon Musk and the Doge cuts. So get ready for low quality beef. But let's go back to the cattle farmers who were already struggling. When this 3-month window is closed and midterm elections have gone by, cattle farmers are going to be so much worse off than before, because this is going to dig directly into their already very low sales. Sales that have caused them to already bankrupt. Sales that have caused them to take out so many loans. Sales that have shrunk their herds. And now they're not going to be able to purchase more heifers to build their herds back up so they can continue to run their business. This is Donald Trump and Republican policy. They don't govern. They don't know how to govern. They don't care to govern. They're there to have the biggest, most massive transfer of wealth in history to the hands of a few. So just remember, when you go to vote at midterms, every single Republican running in the state, every single Republican running for governor supports Donald Trump's policies. They support what he's doing. So think about that when you go to vote.
What do you mean cattle farmers are still crying? Has anyone explained to them that they voted for this twice? Has anyone told them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps? Or has anyone tried a nice soft hug and whispered, FAFO, bitch? It's what you fucking voted for twice. And I guarantee you probably every single one of them will never vote blue. Because it's not in their denim. But yeah, keep voting Republican, because that's working for you.
So how about those ranchers trying to sell beef on TikTok? No worries, Trump's gonna make farming great again. So let me get this straight. Trump wants to import 300,000 metric tons of beef, which is gonna undercut the farmer, with hopes of lowering the cost of groceries, which is gonna bring down inflation. And all of this suddenly right before the midterms. Now I understand that we've been importing beef for years, but this is not business as usual. This is another one of those Trump tactics to get votes. That way he can say, I brought down inflation. I lowered your cost of groceries. I did what I told you I was gonna do. Now let me be clear, along with other millions that are thinking like me. I support the farmer. I support the rancher. But I only support the one that made the right decision. You all voted for this. You were told what was gonna happen. And not just you farmers and not just you ranchers. All of you MAGA people that are getting on here regretting your vote, you were told what was gonna happen. I have no sympathy for any of you, because your so-called I love this country and patriotism just isn't flying a flag in front of your house. It isn't flying a flag in the back of your pickup truck. Real patriotism is people that care about a country and a nation as a whole, not just a group like some of you MAGA Republicans do. See, real patriots care about everyone's freedoms, everyone's rights, everyone that wants to be who they are, not who you want them to be. So the next time you farmers, you ranchers, you MAGA Republicans that are regretting your vote, do your research next time before you walk into the voting booth. And before you vote, think about other people, not just yourself, and don't be so selfish, because when you do need sympathy, you may get it next time. All right? I hope this helps.
North Carolina, let's be clear about what's happening. Trump's plan to import 300 metric tons of foreign beef is being sold as a way to lower grocery prices. But you don't put America first by putting American farmers second. Over 80% of the beef we eat is already produced right here in the United States. A temporary flood of foreign beef isn't going to magically make grocery prices 25% cheaper. What it can do is put downward pressure on the prices our farmers receive while major meat packers and retail chains pocket the savings. And here in North Carolina's 9th Congressional District, 394 cattle farms could feel the impact. We have nearly 4,000 farmers across this district, and family farms are already under tremendous pressure. North Carolina farm bankruptcies have surged, with filings rising dramatically since the beginning of 2025. So what is our solution? Instead of undercutting American farmers with foreign imports, we should invest in American agriculture, strengthen our domestic beef supply chain, support family farms and ranchers, increase competition among meat packers, and make sure farmers receive a fair price for the food that they produce. We all want lower grocery prices, but we cannot sacrifice the farmers who feed our families to get there. I'm fighting for North Carolina farmers, family farms, and long-term American food security. If you agree that American farmers deserve better, comment farmers below. Let's make sure Washington hears us loud and clear. You don't put America first by putting farmers second, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Well, I hear they're selling meat on TikTok now. Yeah, people are getting on live and, this meat is this and this is this. What happened to, and this is only for the farmers who voted for, the man. What happened to picking yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever that saying is? No handouts, no begging for stuff, right? Because you guys are out here basically begging for people to buy from you. Can't do that, right? Isn't that the Republican way? Do it yourself, right? Stop looking for handouts. Go out there and walk the streets and sell your meat. And yes, it does matter who you voted for. Your meat does taste different depending who you vote for. Wow, I just realized this can be taken two ways. Okay, all right. No, this can definitely be taken another way. Y'all know what I mean though, right? Okay, yeah. But both, honestly, same to both, honestly. It does taste different because there's hatred in both, Anyways, good luck though, y'all.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sean here. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but as a cattle farmer, cattle producer, or cattle rancher, whatever title you want to give us, I can't believe that President Trump and Secretary Rollins just kicked us in the teeth yesterday by saying that they're going to import foreign beef here into the United States. This plan that he's actually talking about, you can go and look for yourself. The Cattlemen Association at the national level, every state is coming out totally against it. And it's 100% because it's not going to have any real effect on prices of beef in the grocery store. The reality of it is the packers control everything. Until we address the four packers and how they control everything, we're doing absolutely nothing. Mr. President, your decision is going to run ranchers like myself and others. We don't make any difference. We big or small. You're going to run us out of business, and we will never, ever be able to rebuild the herd. Right now, as everyone knows, the herd is the smallest it's ever been. But with this action for the next 90 days, what it's doing is pushing down the price of beef that we sell to the sale barn that ultimately goes to your table. This action that the president is doing is not doing anything to help the American people. He thinks it is. I wish he would listen to the Cattlemen Association and others that understand agriculture, because the reality of it is right now, what this is happening to us is straight up bush. There's no other way to do it. So I just want to clearly put out there, I'm totally against it. I'm going to fight every day for our farmers, fight every day for our ranchers, because somebody got to get to DC that understand agriculture and going to stand with agriculture. Because right now, if we continue on this path, we're going to run agriculture and run cattlemen completely out of business. Guys, thank you for all your support. Look forward to talking to you out there on the trail. But this, I couldn't even sleep last night. I'm just out here this morning checking on the cows, but I couldn't believe that the president would actually do this. So with that, I'll see you. I got it off my chest. I look forward to seeing you somewhere today and tomorrow and the future days out. But for the next 90 days, I think it's going to run some of our cattle producers out of business.